Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamunadhira Vanachari. Yamunadhira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Bhareniswarada Bhareniswarade. Jaya Radha Bhareniswarada Bhareniswarade. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Vrindavanadam. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramamsa Parivijagacharya Ashtotra Sadasya Srimad Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramamsa Parivijagacharya Ashtotra Sadasya Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Kodi Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. व्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय. नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय. पुण्य क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी की जय. गंगा मई यमुना मई की जय. भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की जय. समावेद भक्त वृंद की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavada Sevaya Bhagavadir Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. Hare Krishna, I welcome all of you for today's Srimad Bhagavatam. So we will be discussing on Canto 4, Chapter 6, text number 33 to 38. So this chapter is titled as Brahma Pacifies Lord Shiva. It's okay. So before we get into this particular section of today, so we need to understand where this section particularly comes in. So we all know that Daksha Yajna happened and there was a big mishap where there was a big fight happened between Virbhadra and the demigods, and all of them have been destroyed. The complete yajna was totally stopped, and Daksha Prajapati was also beheaded. So that's, we all remember, isn't it? So this is what happened before. So after that, what happened? All the demigods, they couldn't continue further. They don't know what to do further because Daksha Prajapati was no more. So they all assembled and then they went to Lord Brahma. So when they went to Lord Brahma first he condemned them. Not coming. So Lord Brahma has condemned them, saying that you have offended your greatest Vaishnava. And it was a big mistake from your part, and you have taken side of Daksha Prajapati. And now the only way is to go and ask forgiveness to Lord Shiva. So that's the reason Lord Brahma has taken all the demigods and he was taking them to Kailash. And the description that we are now going to see from the text number 33, it's almost now from verse number 9 until 32. It was the description of how the surroundings of Kailash, how is the place, what are the nice arrangements were there on the Mount Kailash, what are the trees and nice the lakes, the sweet water, and so many nice birds, serene atmosphere. So all these were explained from verse number 9 to 32. So there are 2 points before we go into this section, 2 points we need to understand. Why Lord Brahma has to take all the demigods to Lord Shiva. So we need to see, we will discuss why he has to take all of them. So they came and they just said to Lord Brahma that everything has been destroyed, so we were not able to continue further, and Daksha Prajapati also beheaded. And it said that in the one of the verse that Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu, they knew from the beginning that this is going to happen, so they avoided going to the yajna. So Lord Brahma, he told them, you have to go personally to Lord Shiva and then you need to ask forgiveness. So we need to understand here that what is the purpose of the creation. See, Lord Brahma, he could have said, okay, I know now, so I will speak to Lord Shiva and then I will pacify him. He could have said like that, isn't it? So when someone comes and tells you that I have a problem with this person, so can you please make some amicable arrangements? Then what we will say, okay, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him and then I will make it amicable solution. But Lord Brahma, what he said, you come with me, so you have to go and ask forgiveness. So in this point, we need to understand the one thing is that the creation, the purpose of the creation. So what is the purpose of the creation? All the creation has been happened. What is the purpose is? For the reformation, for the personal reformation. So for personal reformation of the jivas, the creation has happened. So how the personal reformation can happen? When the person who has done the mistake, he has to personally repent. Then only the personal reformation can happen. If he has to repent, then he has to personally represent there. He cannot say somebody, you please on behalf of me go and ask forgiveness. No, he has to personally represent there. When there is a personal representation, and then when they go there, in verse number 5, it is mentioned that you have to ask forgiveness without any reservation. So there should not be any personal reservation. So starting with the creation is for reformation. For reformation, you should have personal repentance. For personal repentance, you should have personal representation. For personal representation, it should be accompanied with no personal reservation. So Brahma said you should come there without any reservation. Ask forgiveness to Lord Shiva. So that is the reason he takes all of them to Lord Shiva. And we know that when the pastime happened with Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. When Durvasa Muni went to all other places and then finally he came to Lord Vishnu, and then Lord also what he said? You have to personally go to Ambarish Maharaj. You have to personally go to Ambarish Maharaj and personally you have to ask forgiveness. And again, there should not be any reservation there. So that is the way. And in another pastime also we see that in Govardhan Leela also. Govardhan Leela, when Indra came and he brought Kamadhenu in front of Lord, and then he presented Kamadhenu first before he went there. So similarly here, the demigods, they took Lord Brahma and then they went to Lord Shiva. So the Lord Shiva was taking them. Now the second point we need to understand before that is that why there is so much of description about the Mount Kailash. What is the importance of that description, starting from verse number 9 until verse number 32? So almost 23 verses. What is the importance of this? Why Bhagavatam has to speak the description of Mount Kailash? What is in relation with this particular episode? So the main point is that if you go through that all these verses, you will find that it was all the description. It says how it was so nice environment was there in Mount Kailash, and it was so impetus for the material sense enjoyment. That place was so good for a material enjoyment. So what is that connection with this particular instance here? If in one of the class in the last week, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he was mentioning about Bhishma Dev. When Bhishma Dev was he was maintaining celibacy throughout his life. Pardon? Yeah, this is the point. So he was not residing in anywhere in inside a forest, or he was not in a solitary place. He was residing in a palace and then he was maintaining celibacy. That was the greatness. So here the point is that it was the arrangements in the Mount Kailash was so very nice that it tends for the sense enjoyment. Even in that situation, Lord Shiva was maintaining celibacy there. And he was discussing absolute truth with all the sages there. So see, when we say that a person who has taken birth in a Brahminical family, it is very easy for him to continue in a devotional service. But a person who has taken birth in a very low class family, or those who are not at all following any devotional service, but if he takes up the devotional service, that is the greatness, isn't it? So that way, even in such a situation, Lord Shiva was discussing about absolute truth. Still not come? Thank you. So these 2 points we need to understand before we go into this today's session. That now in this section today we are going to see how Lord Shiva is discussing the various topics about the absolute truth with various the sages sitting along with him. So we will start with verse number 33. Tasmin mahayogamaye mumukshu sharane suraha dadrusho shivam ashinam tyakta amrasam ivantakam. Anybody can recite? Tasmin mahayogamaye mumukshu sharane suraha dadrusho shivamashinam tyaktamrisham ivantakam. Tasmin mahayogamaye mumukshu sarane suraha dadrusho shivamasinam tatasmrisham ivantakam. Tasmin mahayogamaye mumukshu sarane suraha dadrusho shivamashinam tyaktamrisham ivanta. Matajis. Tasmin mahayogamaye mumukshu sarane suraha dadrusho shivamashinam tyaktamrisham ivantakam. Tasmin mahayogamaye mumukshu sharane suraha dadrusho shivamashinam tyaktamrisham ivantak. Hare Krishna. The translation purport by Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jaya. The translation: the demigod saw Lord Shiva sitting under the tree which was competent to give perfection to mystic yogis and deliver all people. As grave as time eternal, he appeared to have given up all anger. Hare Krishna. So the purport. In this verse, the word Maha Yogamaya is very significant. Yoga means meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Maha Yoga means those who engage in the devotional service of Vishnu. So this is a big purport, and then we have to go through other purports also. We will be taking up some few points from each purport. So from this purport, we will be discussing about yoga means meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Maha Yoga means those who engage in devotional service of Vishnu. Om Vishnu Pada Krishna Prashtai Bodhale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidinamni Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharan Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pasatya Desadharan Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we all know what is yoga. So but general term outside, when we ask what is yoga, what they say? It's connected with the body, doing some physical exercise, making our body strong, fit for our sense enjoyment. This is what generally the yoga means. It is been represented in outside world. But that doesn't mean the real yoga. So the yoga means meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is it's not connected with just a physical body. Of course, through physical body we are connecting to the Lord. We know the yoga, it consists of the 8 angas. So it's starting with yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. But what they take up is the third step directly, the asana. So the asana cannot be perfected unless we have perfected in the first 2 steps, yama and niyama. So without getting perfection in yama and niyama, we cannot practice asana. But this is what happening in outside world. So there is the real yoga means connection with the Supreme Lord. So the actual real yoga means connecting with the Supreme Lord. So when we say when we are connecting with the Supreme Lord, okay, so now we are not discussing about what is happening in the yoga outside, but we will now directly go into the real yoga. So the real yoga is connecting with the Supreme Lord. So when we say when we are connecting with the Supreme Lord through the yoga process, is it all those who are connected with the Supreme Lord? The real process we are discussing about, is all of them are the same or not? Those who are of course they are all connected with the Supreme Lord. Is all of them are same? It cannot be same. No, there are differences there. All of them may not be same. So in Bhagavad Gita 7.16, when Krishna says that there are Chaturvida Bhajante Mam Jana Sugrijana Arjuna Artha Artharthi Jijnashur Jnanicha Bharadarshaba. So he says about there are 4 different kind of people. They are getting connected with the Lord. So the first one, they are in distress, and then the second, those who are in need of the material gain, and then those who are inquisitive, and finally those who are they wanted to know about the absolute truth. So all these 4 different types of people are coming and getting connected with the Lord. But as Krishna very clearly says, all of them are not same. And they have got, each one of them has got the different expectation from the Lord. Of course they are connected with the Lord, but they expect something different. Each of them, they want something different. But the common thing is they are connected with the Lord, but they need something from the Lord. So but that is actually, of course that is better than those who are not directly connected with the Lord, but that is not the perfect way. So above this kind of people, even in that purport, Prabhupada writes like this: these are not pure devotees because they have some aspiration to fulfill in exchange for devotional service. Pure devotional service is without aspiration and without desire for material profit. So in that purport, Prabhupada writes like this. So when we go to the Lord, there should not be any aspirations. Without any aspiration, that is the pure devotional service. So there is no only for the purpose of serving the Lord. So Maha Yoga, so this is the yoga, those who are getting connected with the Lord, But what is Mahayoga then? The next step comes now. That is, yoga is without connecting the Lord, there are people doing so-called yoga. That is first. And then the second step, it goes, those who are connected with the Lord, they are going with some aspirations. And then above them, the third level, it goes like this. The Mahayoga here refers to those who are fully engaged in devotional service of the Lord, and they don't want anything material in return. But they have some aspirations in their life. They don't want anything material, but still there is some aspiration in there. So what is that aspiration? That aspiration is the liberation. They want liberation. They wanted to get mukti. So that is the, again, little higher level. They don't want anything material, but they need something more. That is the liberation they are looking for. But is it that the ultimate, or is there something more than that? There should be something more. What is the more then? Generally, such meditators are desirous of liberation from the material bondage, and they are promoted to the spiritual world, to one of the Vaikunthas. So in this same purport, Prabhupada writes like that. So they have some aspiration that is not material, but the spiritual aspiration, transcendental aspiration. But so because of that transcendental aspiration, they are promoted to the Vaikuntha planets. Is there something again more than that? There is something more than that. So Lord Shiva is surrounded by such great devotees, but there are much greater level of devotees. So here in this particular instance, Lord Shiva has been surrounded by many of those kind of devotees whom they are looking for the liberation. So above that, who are they? Above this level of devotees, who are they above them? The same Lord Shiva, he explains to Mother Parvati. In Chitraketu's pastime, Lord Shiva, he explains that Narayana Parasarve na kutastha bibyati Swargo apavargo narakeshu api tulyartha darshina. So there Lord Shiva says that the devotees of the Lord Narayana, they don't fear for anything, whether you put them in Swarga or you put them in hellish planet, or you give them the liberation. Everything they api tulyartha darshana. Everything they see, everything is same. There is no difference for them. Their only aim is only to serve the Lord. So they don't want any material aspiration. They don't have even spiritual aspiration also. They don't have any liberation also. Their only aspiration is serving the Lord. So that, okay, now in this particular instance, are there any devotees there surrounding with Lord Shiva, such devotees? Narada is there. So Lord Shiva in this particular instance, he has been surrounded by, we will be seeing in the next verses, he is surrounded by Kuvera, he is surrounded by Kumaras, and then he is surrounded by Narada also. So all type of devotees are there, all type of personalities are there along with the Lord Shiva, and he is giving association to every one of them. So this verse is that what we said now. So same Lord Shiva explains the Mother Parvati in this Chitraketu episode. Okay, now we'll move to the verse number 34. The translation says, Lord Shiva sat there surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, the master of Kuyakas, and the 4 Kumaras who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly. So in the purport, we will take up those highlighted points. Thus, Lord Shiva's association with Kumaras and Kuvera indicates that he has all transcendental and material opulences. Actually, he is qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his position is very exalted. So now we will take up the first point here, Lord Shiva's association with Kumaras and Kuvera. So he is associating with all type of people here, Lord Shiva. So the transcendental and material association. Okay, now for example, if you take our case, so we are in this material world, can we expect that we will have only pure transcendental association? Can we expect, okay, I need only pure, of course when we come to the temple we will have, but we cannot, in the material world, we cannot have 100% transcendental association. Then what we can do? Can we say for example, see, if we are, say that, no, I don't want the material world, I don't want anything matter. So today morning, Prahlad was explaining in the Gopal class that Prabhupada was converting all the material places into the spiritual planets. Wherever you go, he went so many places and he was converting all those places. It was before Prabhupada's time, it was all material place. But he has converted all of them. So we cannot totally neglect this material world. But actually, to be frank, actually to see, there is nothing matter actually. Whenever you are getting connected with Lord, everything it acts as spiritual. There is no matter at all. So how we take it up? So even again, there was another example given by Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji about Duryodhana in this case. So Duryodhana had a chance of association with Bhishma and Vidura, and he had chance for association with Sakuni and Dhritarashtra. But what was his choice? His choice was Sakuni and Dhritarashtra, unfortunately. So how do we take up our choice? We cannot totally neglect the material, but we have to see when, and again in one of the in the post for Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he was mentioning that we cannot show our back to the material world and say I am going to spiritual world. It is not possible. So he mentions that we have to pass through the material world to reach spiritual world. So we need to associate. See, in this case of Lord Shiva, you see, it's mentioned. Rupa Goswami he has given the definition here. Anasakta savashayan yatharam upayunjita nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyati. So what is the yukta vairagya actually? So we cannot say everything I don't need. The yukta vairagya is that whatever you are getting connected, utilize it in the service of the Lord. Yatharam upayunjati. So if it is Krishna sambandhe, everything it becomes the spiritual. So accepting everything for the service of Krishna, it makes that matter also into spiritual. So this is what we discussed. So in this case for Lord Shiva, he had the association of all type of personalities there. So what is actually the real association? What is our choice now here? When we have people with the material consciousness, when we have people with wanted to go for liberation, when we have people with the consciousness of serving the Lord, so how do we deal with them? So the real devotee, the devotees, how they do is, to the people who are conscious of matter, they give their association. When they are associating with those another pure devotees, they take their association. So this is the actual how we deal with. So we need to see how we are dealing with. When we are dealing with the materialistic people, we need to give our association to them. But when we are dealing with those another devotees or spiritually elevated personalities, we need to take association from them. This is how we need to deal in this material world. So as we said, we cannot totally avoid materialistic people. We need to deal with them and we need to bring them. Actually, it is our duty also to convert them. How Srila Prabhupada has converted. So we, as a followers of Srila Prabhupada, as a followers of Rupa Goswami, we need to convert everyone. Bring them into the spiritual planet. So we need to give them our association rather than taking their association to us. So we take up the second point in that purport. It was the qualitative incarnation of Supreme Lord. It's mentioning about the Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is mentioned as the qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So we know this one. So in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the chapter 8, Prabhupada writes, let us read this one. Lord Shiva is not one of the living entities. He is, pardon? Yeah, no, he is more or less Krishna himself. The example of milk and yogurt is often given in this regard. Yogurt is a preparation of milk, but still yogurt cannot be used as milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva is an expansion of Krishna, but he cannot act as Krishna. Nor can we derive spiritual restoration from Lord Shiva that we derive from Krishna. So whatever the spiritual benefit we are getting by worshipping or having the surrendering to Lord Krishna, we cannot get the same benefit. Even though Lord Shiva is then an incarnation of Krishna, but we cannot get the same, we cannot derive the same spiritual benefit by surrendering it to Lord Shiva. The essential difference is that Lord Shiva has a connection with material nature, but Vishnu or Lord Krishna has nothing to do with the material nature. Of course, the material creation has happened, so the Lord has to deal with the material creation. So when the Lord has to deal with the material creation, Lord transforms himself as Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is nothing but Lord Krishna in the incarnation for dealing with material world. So we have to rush because the shortage of time. So we'll move to the text number 35. So the translation goes like this. The demigod saw Lord Shiva situated in his perfection as the master of the senses, knowledge, fruitive activities, and the path of achieving perfection. He was the friend of entire world, and by virtue of his full affection for everyone, he was very auspicious. So again here, one cannot serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead unless one has achieved full perfectional knowledge in the ways and means of performing devotional service. So again we'll read, one cannot serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead unless one has achieved full perfectional knowledge in the ways and means of performing devotional service. So it says that for performing devotional service, we should achieve perfectional knowledge. So what is our view? For performing a devotional service, do we need the knowledge or not? Do we need the knowledge or not? Okay. Okay, so we will discuss it now again. Okay, so I am taken purport from another verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Such knowledge of devotional service may be divided into two sections, namely preliminary knowledge of the nature of the devotional service and the secondary knowledge of its execution. So here, this particular purport, today's purport, it talks in this 2.7.19, Prabhupada says about two divisions. The first division is knowing about the devotional service, and then the second point is how to perform the devotional service. That is the Sambandha and then Abhideya. So knowing about devotional service, the first one, and then the second one is how to perform the devotional service, the second one. So in today's purport, it mentions about how to perform the devotional service, we should have that knowledge. But again, is it for performing the devotional service, do we really need the knowledge, or without knowledge can we perform the devotional service? So actually, if you see, gopis, do they have more knowledge? They have knowledge? Okay, Gopi, yeah, but they say that they don't have much knowledge about, they don't know much about Krishna. They are not knowing about the opulence of Krishna. So, but still they were performing the purest devotional service. So how it was possible? Okay, Sabari also. Okay, in this verse also, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jnanayadi Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yat Ahaitukim. So when you are performing devotional service, the knowledge, it comes automatically. So this again, Bhagavatam, it says like this. So whether we do devotional service and get the knowledge, or we have knowledge and then do devotional service. So this is a little bit tricky here. So how do we understand is that the devotional service we are to perform at both the levels. That is, devotional service has to be performed at sadhana level and at sadhya level also. So when we are performing devotional service at sadhana level, the knowledge is required. When we are performing devotional service at sadhya level, the knowledge is no matter. When we have achieved perfection, for example, there is I think there is, yeah, Veda is a surveyor, aham eva vedyo. So once studying all the Vedas, what is the purpose of studying all the Vedas? Purpose of studying all the Vedas is to understand Krishna. Once you understood about Krishna, then what is the use? Then is it something necessary again to study further? It's not required. So at the sadhana level, we need to understand, we need to study, we need to have the knowledge. But once you reach the perfection, after reaching the perfection, again you have to perform devotional service. But at that level, the knowledge is no matter. So if we can take the example, when you have to climb to the higher level, you need to use the ladder. When you are climbing to a higher level, you need to use the ladder. Once you reach that higher level, do we need the ladder or not? We don't need the ladder. So we can kick off the ladder now. So even the other example given is that, yeah, the small child. The babies, when they are trying to walk, they use the push cart to practice the walking. So once they are perfected in walking, do they need again that push cart? They don't need. So like this, so the knowledge is required for us to have the faith, for us to develop the faith, for us to have the confidence on our Lord. This is required because at the sadhana level, we are not 100%, we are not fixed. We are not fixed. There is a chances of falling down. So that point we need the knowledge is required. For our case, for our level, for the sadhakas, we need the knowledge. But once you reach to the perfection, when you become the perfect, then knowledge is not required. You will be performing the devotional service automatically without any motivation. Ahaituki bhakti. Is it clear or something different? Haribo. So verse number 36. He was seated on a deer skin and was practicing all forms of austerity. Because his body was smeared with ashes, he looked like an evening cloud. On his hair was the sign of half-moon, a symbolic representation. Lord Shiva's symptoms of austerity are not exactly those of a Vaishnava. So Prabhupada writes like this. So there is austerity. Okay, first of all, we'll discuss about the austerity. What is actually the meaning of austerity? Yes, right. So what is austerity? Austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for the body, but are conducive for spiritual realization. For example, the fasting. So it's in the purport 1:17:25. So Prabhupada says like this. So for example, what is the austerities we take up? Fasting. So what is now here Prabhupada in the purport in the first, he says that the symptoms of austerities of Lord Shiva is not exactly same as the Vaishnavas. So then we need to understand what is the Vaishnava symptoms of Vaishnava austerities. So now we know what are the symptoms of Lord Shiva's austerities here. He was having he smeared throughout his body with the ashes, the crematorium ashes, and then he was having a crescent moon on his head. So these are the two symptoms which is mentioned here. And of course, the another third symptom also which we are seeing that he was sitting on the deer skin. So these are the symptoms of austerity which Lord Shiva was showing there. But that is not exactly same as for the austerities of Vaishnava. So then what is the Vaishnava austerities? What are the symptoms of Vaishnava austerities? So that what are the Vaishnava austerities? We follow the 4 regulative principles. So following 4 regulative principles is an austerity or not? Definitely for us, isn't it? When in the sadhaka level, it is really an austerity following the 4 regulative principles. It is not easy. We need to fight against this maya to follow these regulative principles. And then fasting, Yagadasi, Chaturmasya, and then Acharya's appearance day and the disappearance days. All these days we are fasting. So this is again an austerity. And then regulated daily routine, the chanting and the cleanliness we maintain. So today, now the winter started. It's very difficult to take bath early. Getting up in the morning itself is very difficult. But that is again a big austerity. And then taking bath at least twice in a day. As a Vaishnava, we need to take bath twice in a day. So that is a big austerity again. And then again in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about the 3 types of austerities. Austerities of body, austerities of speech, and then austerities of mind. So what is the austerities of body? Which we mentioned now, the taking bath, and then in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that whenever we see the deities, immediately we need to bow down. Whenever we see our acharyas, our spiritual masters, immediately we need to bow down. Even when we see our senior Vaishnavas, we need to bow down. So these are the austerities of the body which we have to take up. And what are the austerities of the speech? Speech only about Krishna. But sometimes they don't like speaking about Krishna. So the austerities of the speech is that we need to speak. So which others should not get agitated. Yeah, anudvega karam vakyam. So we should not make someone by our speech, they should not get agitated. We should in a way that it should be pleasing to others. Even though when we are telling something truth, but we should put it in such a way that, and we should know that when to speak also. Then how to speak also we should know. This is the austerities of the speech. Then what is the austerities of the mind? Austerities of the mind is to be always satisfied, not having any anxieties. So these are the austerities of the mind. So we should follow all this, the Vaishnava austerities. So these Vaishnava austerities has got the different symptoms. But whereas here Lord Shiva is exhibiting, then Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava or not? Is a Vaishnava or not? Then why is not showing these symptoms? Why is showing different symptoms? So this is the where the glorification of Lord Shiva comes. The Lord Shiva is Bhutanath, it's called as Bhutanath. And all the extras and all these controlling them. So they are very difficult to control. All the bhutas and pisasas, they are very difficult to be controlled. So but Lord Shiva is taking up that position to control all of them. So what Lord Shiva is doing them is, he is giving his association to them, bringing them, elevating them. So in that way, if you want to attract someone, then we need to show something which they like. If you show to the bhutas that I am following Ekadasi, you also follow Ekadasi, are they going to follow? Same thing happens to us also. Now when we go and preach, we go for a Damodara program, they are new to our philosophy. Straight away the first day when we go to the Damodara and then say, you have to follow Ekadasi. Will they like it or not? They don't like. We cannot straight away give just immediately the big instructions. So we need to go along with them for some time and then ask them, just start chanting. Don't need to do anything. Just start chanting the holy name of the Lord. Then automatically everything you will get, it will be revealed to you. So we give them slowly. So here the same thing Lord Shiva is also doing to bring all those such kind of personalities to the level of Vaishnavas. He has to attract them. To attract them, he is following those type of symptoms. He has to smear this ashes. And in the purport also Prabhupada mentioned that they are all following like Lord Shiva what he was doing. So slowly he is bringing them up. So that is the association which Lord Shiva is giving to such type of personalities there. Okay, he was seated on the deer skin. Of course, the deer skin is even the Vaishnavas also. Even Bhagavad Gita, the Lord mentions in the 6th chapter when Dhyana Yoga, when it's mentioned that the yogi should sit on top of the deer skin and then on top that the kusha grass, all those things Krishna mentions there. And the second symptom or Lord Shiva showing is his body was smeared with ashes. He looked like an evening cloud. So why Lord Shiva is doing that? Once it happened that the mother Parvati was asking Lord Shiva, why are you are a greatest Vaishnava, why are you smearing the ashes onto your body? So it says that the Lord Shiva mentioned that when someone is dead, when they are carrying that body, you know what they are always chanting? Ram Nam Satyam, Ram Nam Satyam. So Lord Shiva said to Mother Parvati, it seems that body which has been carried by chanting the name of the Lord Ram, when it has been burnt, that ashes represents Lord Vishnu for me. The body which was carried while chanting the name of the Lord, when it has been burnt, that ashes represents Vishnu for me. So that is the level of consciousness Lord Shiva was having. So on that consciousness he was smearing the ashes on his body. On his hair was the sign of half moon, a symbolic representation. So he was having the moon. So again, the story goes like that when Soma, the moon god, he got married to the 27 daughters of Daksh Prajapati. And then, but he was supposed to show equality to all of them. But he was little bit more inclined to Rohini. So Daksha cursed him. You become diminished and then you become disappear totally. Then he took the shelter of Lord Shiva. See, even to that person, Lord Shiva is giving the shelter. So that's why Lord Shiva is also called Somanath. Soma is moon god and he is the lord of moon god. So he is called Somanath. So he was, the point is, he was so concerned about such type of people also. He was so compassionate to everyone. Not being compassionate, giving an association with an elevated person, everyone can do that. But to bring up, having an association, teaching them such people who have been low graded, it's not very easy. So Lord Shiva is so compassionate that he was giving association to such type of people also. So that's what the importance of here Lord Shiva here mentioned. So verse number 37. He was seated on the straw mattress and speaking to all present, including the great sage Narada, to whom specifically spoke about the absolute truth. So here the point is, another point in this connection is that Lord Shiva is the supreme instructor and the great sage Narada is the supreme audience. Therefore, the supreme subject matter of Vedic knowledge is bhakti or devotional service. So in Bhagavad Gita 10.9 we know what is mentioned. Machitta madgada prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti. So when great devotees, they meet each other, they discuss only about the pure devotional service. So, and they get greatest pleasure in discussing in that one. Okay. So yeah, masjida. And then again the another example given is that Srimad Bhagavatam Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Samhito Bhavanti Hrit Karna Rasayana Kata Tajjoshna Tasu Apavarga Vargamani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anushkrameshati. So when Lord Shiva is discussing, why he is discussing about the absolute truth in that situation where even those who are not in the devotional service, because when that sound vibration of the about the devotional service, sound vibration about the absolute truth, when it goes into the air, Bhavanti Hrit Karna Rasayana Kada. So through air and it goes into the heart of even to such people, what will happen? Shraddha develops, Rati develops, and then Bhakti Anukrameshyati. So even to those low grade personalities, when they are by chance or even by accidentally they hear about the devotional service, when the sound vibration about the devotional service goes into the hair, into the ear, and it goes into the heart of them, automatically there is no need of any further endeavor is required. Automatically Shraddha, Rati and Bhakti, automatically it comes there. So this is the fact behind Lord Shiva is having association of even those personalities. So the last verse today is his left leg was placed on his right thigh and his left hand was placed on his left thigh. This sitting posture is called Virasana. In this right hand he held Rudraksha beads and his finger was in the mode of argument. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, Lord Shiva is called Yogeshwara and master of all yogis, and Krishna is called Yogeshwara. So what is Yogeshwara and Yogeshwara? Okay, so to understand as a common man, it both looks similar, no? Yogeshwara and Yogeshwara, it looks both similar. What is the difference between these two? Of course, Mataji, what she said is absolutely right. But to understand very clearly, Yogeshwara is the perfected man who is practicing the yoga. Yogeshwara is the perfect who is the source of all yogas. One is Yogeshwara is the one who is practicing, but he is perfected. Yogeshwara is the perfect who is the source of all yogas. Yogeshwara indicates the topmost of the practitioners of yoga and achiever of the yoga practice. And Yogeshwara indicates the topmost source of all the processor of inconceivable opulence and energy, the benefactor of yoga practice. So one is the beneficent and another one is the benefactor. The one who is receiving and the other one is one who is giving. So Yogeshwara and Yogeshwara. Hare Krishna, it's 8:45 now. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So devotees have any comments? Then we can take it up. Otherwise we'll close now.
First question by His Grace Bhaktivedanta Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you always say that Vishnu is he has no connection. I mean, or he is. He's not connected to material world, but he is the maintainer. There's always a. I don't know. I have a confusion always. How is it possible? Because he's how is he maintaining without being in or connecting? Without being connected to the material world, or
Harivan. So it is by his divine will. So even the creation, when we say the creation doesn't happen by Lord's direct involvement. It is by pure will. Just simply the Lord thinks everything it happens through his multi energies. Everything happens through his energies. It's not required that Krishna has to go and perform everything. For example, if in I think in one of the purports, Prabhupada mentions that in a big construction site, the engineer doesn't need to go and look into each and every place how the construction goes. He has got different personalities to perform that. But all those personalities are under the engineer. So Krishna is like that. Everything happens under his control. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sa charachar. So everything happens under his control. Nothing can happen without his knowledge. Everything happens through his knowledge. But Krishna is not directly involved in that one. Through his energy. That energy is not different from Krishna. The energy is Krishna only. But through that energy, Krishna does all, whether it is creation or maintenance or annihilation. It happens like that. So when we even say, when some new person, devotee comes to the temple, what they say, ISKCON has offered today prasadam. I took. Who prepared the prasadam? ISKCON means what? ISKCON means that the devotees, they prepared the prasadam. It's not that ISKCON is someone they went and prepared, but the devotees in ISKCON, they prepared it. So like that, of course, Krishna did everything, but through his energies, not by direct his involvement. Hare Krishna. Sumitra Prabhu can add. Yeah.
The connection with the material nature is the Prakriti itself means three modes of material nature. But Krishna is not touched by the three modes of material. He is the controller of three modes of nature. The whole material nature works under mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. So that's how the question is like, how Krishna, even though he is the creator, how is not connected? He is not connected because he is not connected with the three modes at all. Even though it is his own energies.
Yes.
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So we will be having another program of Tulabharam. So we'll move to the temple hall. Hare Krishna.